concern. Welcome to Family Business World. This is the second half of a show with an amazing CEO and a friend, Mike Seitel from Norwalt. We're talking about their high-speed manufacturing machines that they produce. If you missed the first show, we actually went through some of the products and caps that are 400 to 1,000 a minute. They're amazing machines. But we wanted to talk about this second show, and I appreciate you coming back, to really talk about manufacturing, especially manufacturing in New Jersey, to talk about jobs. Mm-hmm. What a lot of people don't realize is there are 7,000 manufacturing firms in New Jersey. There are 247,000 people employed in manufacturing in New Jersey, and it accounts for $49.3 billion in revenue. And so yet, so often, one, we don't think there's manufacturing in New Jersey. Two, a lot of the policies overlook that and really discourage. And one of the things I've learned, and I want your feedback, is almost every manufacturing business that I've come across is a family business, because like yours, they were started in New Jersey and they want to stay and they're loyal to New Jersey. But financially, it would make more sense to be in other parts of the country.
Sure.
So is that an accurate assessment?
Oh yeah, we started in New Jersey, and we're here because the family's here.
Right.
But there's no financial reason to stay in New Jersey anymore.
Right. I know North Carolina's calling you every week.
They come up every week, and they give us here. They come here and they say, we'll give you no taxes, we'll give you free training grants, we give you this, we give you that. All these kind of, and it gets to be very enticing.
Right.
And they actually did a better job on their trade schools over the last few years.
Oh, really?
So they realized what they did is, up here, everyone goes to college.
Right.
You're a failure if you don't go to college in New Jersey, and and maybe that some other states, but it's really prevalent because we're near New York, right? There's the financial district, and there's a lot of more money, I'll say, up here. So people are pushing everyone. The high schools are rated by going to college. They don't care if you're not making money after college and flipping burgers. But that's what they're rated on, right? So down there, they have that also, but in other states, what they've done is when China took manufacturing from us in the 70s, they kept their trade schools open.
Right.
They limped along, but what happened now is I was down there touring one actually recently, about a year ago. Because I was in the area and I said, all right, look at your trade school, and my eyes were like, oh my God, right? This is crazy.
Wow.
So I walked in, it was all high tech, it was as big as a high school.
Wow.
A small high school here, but it was big. I walked in, they had all milling machines, lathes,
really? Wow.
PLCs, robots, all this stuff all over the place. And then they had kids. I'm like, that's what I didn't see. I said, all these kids are sitting there working on them. Wow. And he goes, well, this is from one company.
All right.
And he said, and the guy told me, he said about 7-8 years ago, they said, okay, we're starting an apprentice program. And they put an ad in, and they have
how old were the kids?
Spots.
How old were the kids?
High school.
They're high school kids, okay.
High school kids.
Wow.
Like 17, 18, that age, right?
Yeah.
And so they put it in, and they said they had, maybe 5-7 years ago, they had, I don't know, I would say 10, maybe 12 kids apply.
Okay.
He says today they have 50, 60, 70 applying for those 10 spots.
For those 10 spots, wow.
Right,
wow.
So everyone's realizing they're going to make a lot of money in manufacturing.
Right.
You're going to make a good living, because they're coming out of school and making, out of the school, I think they're starting, even down there, $18, $20 an hour.
Wow.
This minimum wage stuff, I don't care about it, because anyone that's good with their hands in manufacturing is going to make way more than any minimum wage.
You're paying them more.
You have to.
More than that. As you know, I'm executive director of the Fairleigh Dickinson University Rothman Institute of Innovation and Entrepreneurship, and we did a small business poll to really ask about Family Leave Act and the $15 minimum wage, and about 46% of the businesses, it wouldn't be yours, but it would be retail, said that it's a problem, and that's about 300,000 businesses.
Yeah.
And so really legislating business management really doesn't make sense.
No.
Because the marketplace, and that's
me
part
more
of what
annoyed.
the marketplace will adjust. And if you really understand family businesses, you know that they're not going to rip people off. They're really focused on doing the best they can for the employees so they can keep them.
I was furious when they did the paid time off law.
Because it actually forced you to do worse for your employees, less for your employees than your... Yeah, say some more about that, yeah.
Well, we had it. We had a very good policy because you can't hire good people if you're not going to
treat them well. You're not going to treat them well, yeah, you have to.
And businesses, we need people.
Right,
That's our lifeline, is our people.
Right.
Nothing else.
Right.
It's not, we don't have equipment. That's all nothing. It's our people.
Yep.
That's everything.
Yep.
So you always treated them well. And then all of a sudden we get this. We start having to track in hours on everyone. Right. And I'm like, this is garbage. And I got so mad. I was ready to pack up and leave at that
go
point because
yeah.
I'm like, why can the government tell me what to do? They shouldn't be allowed. Because I have people here, now we have interns, right, that we pay from college.
Right.
You're teaching them. When we pay them a decent amount, way more than minimum wage.
Right.
But now we have to track their hours, give them time off for every 32 hours they work for as an intern over the summer. So then it just gets more cumbersome for our accounting department, right?
And maybe some of the legislation makes sense for big companies.
Yeah.
But that's part of what we're really doing with the show and finding out is that, exempt the small businesses from this pay, because you don't have extra money to hire. Your margins are so slim.
Right.
And what people don't understand is that you have a bad 6 months, you can go out of business. It doesn't matter that you make $30 million as a company. You are every month you're really challenged. So say something about that, because I think it's important for the audience and people to know that it's tough to run a business in New Jersey, a small business.
And it's very cyclical, the business, right? And we need people. And we don't have the trades yet developed in New Jersey. That's probably the biggest hang-up, because you can overcome the bad policies on tax and the government and all that. That can be you can live with that, right? But it's the people, and that's what we need, everyone to step together. And in New Jersey, what I noticed is I've been on some boards. We have apprenticeship programs, and I've been on a board here, and I've gone to some Department of Education meetings, and they don't understand how to start it, and it's like watching the Game of Thrones. It scares the hell out of me, because they all want this. So every community college, every Bow Tech school, they all say, we'll do it. We started everywhere. I said, you can't do that. You got to start it here.
You got to focus it.
Focus it, get it going, then bring it to here, then bring it to here. But they really don't have an idea how to start anything practical.
Well, but that's part of, I used to be Deputy Commissioner of the Department of Community Affairs, and so I understand how government works, what it's good at and what it's not good at, and so often businesses aren't included in that. So if you're going to do the program, businesses should be driving it.
Right.
Because at the end of the day, you're going to be hiring these folks.
Right.
And so I've been president of a number of school boards. And fortunately, because of our conversations, I know in New Brunswick, I'm vice president of that board now. We're starting a program, and the beauty is, and at Fairleigh Dickinson, we're looking at online courses. So back in our day, when you had a choice of either working right out of high school or going to college.
Right.
Now you can actually work and make money and go to college.
Right.
And do it at the same time. And so more of those programs. Now remember, people are blown away when I say and look it up if you don't believe me, 247,000 jobs in manufacturing in New Jersey.
I didn't even know that.
And it's amazing. And so they're real opportunities. One of the other reasons that family businesses are so important is how they give back to the community. And I know you're involved with robotics. Talk a little bit about how Norwalt is giving back to the community.
So our big push in giving back is to get kids interested in the trades and things like that. So what we've done is we partnership where we do senior design projects in colleges, which isn't quite as low level as the community, but at least we'll bring engineers, we'll work with engineering schools, we'll give them a senior design project, the kids build something. We don't really gain much from it, except we get kids that are now learning a practical side.
Well, but that's a community, you're giving back to the community. The college is a community. So.
Yeah, and we do it with the state schools. Because, and then we also work with a business school doing the same with Rutgers and help them and bring their kids in and same thing. So they're asking for business help too, because they want to bring the business school up to make it better.
Right.
And then on a lower level, we're working with robotics clubs in high schools.
Okay.
So we'll have a robotics team. One just was here. I mean, they're little guys, but they're smart. These kids, right?
Yeah,
but they like to build stuff and get into the STEM and that's what I'm pushing, is to get that down there. And they may trigger and want to go into a trade or build robots like we use. So we're working with them, mentoring them, where our engineers are, work with them, and then if they need materials, we'll supply materials for building the robots.
So you manufacture these, 400 to 1,000 a minute, these various parts of these things. So your layout is you have some rocket scientists and you have some folks that are smart with their hands.
Yes.
Is that, how's it? How's the split in the company? How is that made up?
It's about 30% of the design side and 2/3 of it's on the working with your hands side.
Okay.
And it's amazing. The plant man, the owner, Norbert, who started the company.
Right, your dad.
My dad. And he never went to college. The plant manager never went to college.
Interesting.
The assistant plant manager that we just promoted recently, he didn't go to college. The guy I recruited from North Carolina to come work for me, and he's like second in charge, he never went to college. Our electrical engineering manager, they all worked from the ground up building machines and became good at that and got promoted over the years, either with us or at other companies. And it's amazing, all went to trade school.
But they're all over 50, and so back in the day, you had to choose.
Yes.
You couldn't do both. And so now we have this opportunity, and so really, and I'm going to do my part at Fairleigh Dickinson University, but working with the small businesses to figure out how do we help kids get a college education and work with their hands.
Right.
And because, again, obviously the folks you're working with are very, very smart because they're managing these rocket scientists. Right. They have the respect of these rocket scientists, not just because they're given a paycheck, but in order for it to work. And so how does that work? I mean, people assume, well, if you didn't go to college, you can't manage somebody that is a rocket scientist,
No, we don't even look at we don't even look at resumes for that end. We look at just experience.
Experience.
I actually look at
and personality too. And,
personality. Do they have a pace? Are they fast? We're fast paced.
Right.
They always joke. I always do. What is, the walk test? Do they keep up with me walking down the hall? Right. But. No, it's really respect. We look at that. We'll look at education. We'll see it on there, and that's more for the design end or something like that. But some of our best engineers didn't go to college. They all just learned from the ground up. And so we just really look at more experience for that. And by the experience, people will respect them because they know so much. Right. You could tell. They come in and. You could do this, you could do this.
Instantaneously, so we're going to take a commercial break, and we'll come right back after the break.
And sets us apart. We are temple made. And when others take shortcuts, when others take breaks, when others take the easy way, we take charge.
Add us on social media to watch bloopers, behind-the-scenes footage, previews, and more.
I work 13 hours a day, 6 days a week. So when I'm off the clock, I gotta get stuff done. So when I need a snack, I need something healthy, tasty, and easy to eat. Like wonderful pistachios without the shells. They're protein-powered, delicious, and great on the go. And that's perfect for me. Thanks, Liz. A woman without a lot of time.
Whether you're a gourmet cook or just want to eat like one, visit Rostelli Market Fresh, your home for the freshest, locally sourced ingredients to please everyone who loves great food. Our organic meats, quality seafood, and free-range poultry are cut fresh to order. Chefs create culinary-inspired prep foods made fresh every day, which pair nicely with our vast selection of fine wines and spirits. Choose from handmade pastas, artisan cheeses, organic produce, and grocery items, all from the finest purveyors. Rostelli Market Fresh, from our family to yours.
RVN TV is a platform for people of any industry to share their story. Over 285,000 viewers are tuning in to RVN TV shows monthly. We guarantee
We're back from commercial break. I'm with Mike Seitel, the CEO of Norwalt, an amazing company, New Jersey bred, and one of the best in the world at manufacturing high-speed machines. I had an opportunity, as I said, I'm at the FDU Rothman Institute, and we have advisory services, and one of the things we do is strategic planning, and we've had a chance to work with Norwalt in strategic planning, and I got to know the company. You have an amazing team of people. I love the culture. It's very collaborative. Everybody there is really smart, whether they went to college or not, and I know you had started strategic planning internally, but then you kind of asked me to come in as an outside. How has that made a difference, just having an outside person come in for strategic planning?
Well, you really look at it as you step back, and then you really can show us our weakness. Well, you started it a little different, where you bought us and said, all right, let's do a SWOT analysis, which I don't know if people know is strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats, right?
Threats, absolutely, yeah.
So that really, and you even brought some up, which, we're like, those are good points, because you could see some things that maybe you don't want to say,
right.
And you got to be very open, and an outside person will really make you spill out more or point out things that you're not bringing up. And then from that, I think it also helps the other employees, because you met with some of the others, our management team, and when we were developing this on, they're more open maybe with an outside person to speak up
right.
and say, that I'm terrible, Mike's terrible. The first thing we need to do is replace Mike to go succeed, right? Or, so you could get things like that a little more open in there. And it really has been great in terms of we did that. We still have to advance to go maybe now to the 5-year plan, and we'll bring you back on for some of that thoughts. And but just having things written down and coming up with that plan, what happened, it's amazing. We look back on the follow-up, and all of a sudden we have check. We did a lot of these without even thinking.
Right.
They're in our mind, and all of a sudden they're starting to click and happen. And that's the part that I'm amazed at, how that happened when we just wrote them down. This is what we want to do this year.
And you make it real. And it's a good feeling, too, because you're making it real. One of the things, so, some of you who may not know, as Mike said, the SWOT analysis, so the strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. And so often, and one of the things, if you're looking for an outside person, they don't necessarily have to be an expert in your industry. In fact, it's often good to have somebody who's not, because then they'll think out of the box. They won't do things the way they've always done them. And so even like your firm with the strengths, you have so many strengths. Some of them you took for granted. That you're really good at this stuff, you're best in the world at doing that stuff, and sometimes an outside person has to come in to kind of, wake you up and say, hey, you guys are phenomenal, because you're doing it every day. And then the opportunities, too, is to really say, well, why aren't you doing this, and why aren't you doing that, and then their threats, and then their weaknesses, and it's good to be honest about that. So it really is, and it's been a lot of fun. But your business is really so good that, part of the challenge is getting the word out, right?
Yes,
letting people know that if you need a machine built, doesn't matter what it is, we'll do it for you.
Right.
And so what are you doing now to really get the word out about your business?
Well, some of the new things is, and part of it we noticed was not visiting customers enough, right? And that was a big weakness for us, and we went and we hired someone came to us that was very technical, and he wanted to work for us, and he had his own business doing for Procter & Gamble, basically supporting them, but he said he'll have some extra time that he may be able to help us on sales. And so between that and then writing down that we need to visit customers more, because they forget what we can do. Right. Like when we were visiting one customer and they brought me up, I went and he said, hey, where can we automate here? Right. And we walked around and we said, well, we're doing this now with robots. We started working with this brand and this. He goes, oh, they didn't know. Right. So now we got an order for that to develop. So that's probably the biggest thing, going, seeing the customers in the factories, visiting them, and letting them know, yes, we could do that or this and that. And then the other item that came out was we were a little weak on our website. We rebranding right now, coming up with a new logo, tagline, which you see up on the screen now. Right. So that's going to be rolled out actually in a couple weeks. Wonderful. And then we're working on the new website. And I think just getting a little more, and then from that we're going to promote more on the social media with LinkedIn and other avenues there.
Well, and I wish, people don't realize how thin, they look at the gross revenue of a company, they don't realize how thin the margins are.
Yes.
And one of the things that I always say is that, this country would be very different if every politician had to make payroll, if they knew what it took to make payroll. And there have been nights, I'm sure, when you said, well, how are we going to make payroll? Right. Because you have these really high times where you need to hire people, and then you have the low times. How have you handled that? How have you? What
we do is, and right now we're actually in a slow time, because we're dependent on the big Fortune 500 companies spending money. Right. If they are not spending money, the Proctors, the Unilevers, the Colgates, they are not going. There's nothing to build, right? Because they're not coming up with new products. So when they're spending money, everyone's doing well, and when they're holding back right now, the whole manufacturing, I shouldn't say it's down, but you saw the purchasing management has gone down the last few. Now it's starting to turn around again. Right. So we see now it's going the other way. It's getting busy again. But what we do is we'll do R&D projects. We'll develop a new technology. We'll have guys, we'll build machines that we think we're going to get without having them, that are standard machines, just to keep people busy and not having to reduce their hours. We even are retiling bathrooms with our own people. Really? Yeah, if there's some extra time, we say, hey, this looks a little old, let's go gut the bathrooms and retile them. Because our guys can all do that. So we'll do things like that. And amazing having people who are so good with their hands. There's so many other things they can do. Yeah. But the other thing about family businesses that's important, so Maura Panuski, who's in my office, a part of the Rothman team, tells the story of her dad. And he worked with a major company that good times or bad, they didn't lay anybody off. Right. They really, now we have this shareholder-controlled big business. Is that if you got to squeeze out every dime. So if you're losing money, you got to lay people off and then hire them back if you need that. Family businesses are like the old-style businesses where good times or bad, they pretty much keep people and keep people busy. We have a rainy day fund. Is what I keep. Is that what you do? A rainy day fund, okay. And we just keep that, and just for the goal of having everyone working for 6 months with no working, and being able to pay them. Wow. See, and that's that, and you don't hear that now with shareholders. It's like, well, that money it has to be reinvested in this company. Forget the people. Yeah. But at the end of the day, and when I've worked with CEOs of companies, you give them a choice. Say, I can give you money and bad people, or no money and good people. They want the good people every time, right? Yep. Bad people make everything. That's how you make money. Yep. You can have all the money in the world, but with bad people, you lose it pretty quickly. Yeah. So as you think about the future of the business, we talked about succession. We talked about what kinds of things do you think Norwalt can do? Are there new products that you can kind of pursue? Well, we're working on a new type of product to change the way maybe they're decorated. We're working on a new, I can't even say because we're going to go to our patent attorneys on it. Of course, you don't want to share secrets. But we're working on that, and then working on more robotics and flexible automation because things are ever changing on that field. And now customers with the advent of e-commerce or Amazon, we're looking at things where maybe there'll be areas where we can pick the product out of a bin, where you look with vision and say, okay, they want a shampoo. Put one of those in that guy's box, all automated. So we're getting into that end of things. And then the other is partnering with other machine builders like us, because there's conglomerates of machine builders that they'll do the label, they'll do the filling, they'll do what we do, and they'll be a one-stop shop. Now, they don't do everything very well.
Right.
They may do a couple of them well, where now we have to go and be able to say, yeah, we can go partner with someone that can fill this and join, like a joint venture. So we'll be doing more of those type of partnerships over the next few years.
Well, but I think you're so well positioned, and as we talked off camera earlier, that if you're not innovating, you're going backwards.
Yes,
right?
you have to keep
innovation
moving.
has to be part of it, and so often, and you've been successful because you're a visionary. We look at what is today and say, okay, well, how do we create things for what is today? You're thinking about what is tomorrow.
Right.
And the warehousing. You have to, and you're right, the warehousing. I mean, there will be more competitors to Amazon, I think.
Yeah.
And if there's automation that makes it even cheaper, so that that could be something to really.
Right. Well, no one wants to go to Amazon. What everyone's going to want to do is bypass them.
Right.
So if you want to have this shampoo, the company that makes it will be able to send it to you instead of going to Amazon somehow.
Right.
I'm not sure how that's all going to work money-wise.
Right.
We'll just make it happen.
Yeah.
So,
you can really make that happen. And so, one of the other things that I wanted to talk about, and as the audience will find out, I have just a real passion for employment, especially helping people out of poverty, people who've just out of prison, and family businesses are more likely to hire people than big businesses or other businesses. And so you have an apprentice program, and talk a little bit about that. So about some of the things you've done.
What we've done is we've hired people from that weren't well off financially, or didn't really have good jobs, but they had a work ethic, right? And so we brought them into the company, and we initially we were just training them on our own, but recently, and we started, part of me realizing that there's not enough apprentices or trades in this state, we started an apprentice program. So we just had 5 graduate from there. And how it works, they work at Norwalt all week.
Right.
Okay. And then we paid for their online schooling, which mirrored what they were learning at work.
Right.
So, but it made us a better company.
Wonderful.
Because what we had to do now is teach them. So where maybe they were just doing this one process over and over. Well, now I had to teach him welding. I had to teach the person machining. I had to teach them.
I love it. And that's the future.
It made everyone in the company better, and then it made our managers better because now they had to spend the time to teach.
Wonderful.
Right?
Wonderful. That's one of the reasons I really wanted to spend time with you, because you're not only a great company, you're great with people, you're helping all sorts of people. So this is a model family business. I hope those of you who are listening, those who have their own family businesses can model after Norwalt. So unfortunately, we're out of time. But thank you all for joining us. Mike, thank you for being here.
It's a pleasure.
And shop family businesses, please.